Of a Chess.com podcast. It's been a while since our last one, but we're going to get back into these now. Sorry for the break, I've been away changing jobs, moving house, etc. But here we are. Okay, so I've put in a bit of a chess miniature to get us back into the flow of making these podcasts. It's a Greco one, so it's over 400 years old, and I just want to explain some of the ideas in it and pose a little bit of a problem at the end for you. So it's an e4, e5 game, knight f3, knight c6, very popular back in the day. I'm using the Chess.com analysis board here, so we can change the position and game editor and do an analysis board. It's really good. If you wanted to just check out different moves or whatever, you can start putting them in and it just builds it all, and you can copy the PGN. So if you're ever looking through variations of games, use this very useful tool on the website. But in this game, bishop c4 was played, bishop c5 and c3, looking to support d4 push. Now black played an unorthodox move here. Black played queen to e7, which isn't the strongest move. Admittedly, there's some you'd get typically knight f6, d4 would be played. There'd be an exchange of pawns on the d4 square, and you get this kind of check and a couple of variations here. Either the knight can come out, or the bishop, and you exchange bishops off. But in this game, queen e7 was played, and it's tricky because now white can't play this d4 move, because after the exchange, black isn't duty bound to move his bishop because the queen captures with check, and now in this variation we see that black's actually just going to gain a pawn. So instead, white castles, d6 is played, and now d4 can be played, because if black was to try and exchange pieces and try and capture a pawn, then the queen will be pinned and lost. So d6, d4 was played, and the black bishop is dropped back to b6. Bishop to g5. The best move here is probably knight to f6, so black can castle safely kingside, or even leave the option open for queenside, but develop a piece. Black doesn't play this move, instead plays f6, trying to be aggressive early on. Bishop drops back to h4. I think it's been noted on Polka's website when she looked at this game that bishop to e3 would be a more modern way of playing this position, and you wouldn't go for the aggressive stance on h4. It's aggressive because it really does invite g5, and white is now kind of bound into playing the exchange and sacrificing a piece with knight takes g5. Because if he doesn't, if he just plays like bishop back to g3, after h5, h3, h4, sorry, bishop drops back, g4 is played, we get an exchange of pawns on g4, and now black has got the initiative in this game. Black's going to be able to castle queenside quite easily, and white's kingside could be in trouble. So we see that knight takes g5, f takes g5, and queen comes to the h5 square with check. Now what can the king do? If the king went to f8, that would be an immediate mistake, because now f4 can be played. And there's a couple of options here. If g takes h4 is played, then f takes e5 with a discovered check with this strong rook, king to g7, rook f7, and we see the queens dropping off, and white's going to have quite an easy game, especially with this open black king. Going back a few moves, if instead of g takes h4, if e takes f4 was played to block off any discovereds, it doesn't really work because bishop can take g5, and then we're going to be playing rook takes sooner or later anyway. Another variation actually here is also king coming to d8, but again bishop takes g5, knight to f6, queen to h4, and rook to f8, just about holding the position. I'd still rather be white in this position though, and you know, black's got a lot of defending to do and a lot of moves before he gets that king anywhere close to being safe. But in this variation he chose to play king to d7. Bishop takes g5. Again, if knight f6 is played here, then queen to h3, king to e8, queen to h4, and it's a little better maybe black than what actually happens. Another variation after bishop takes g5 is queen e8, seemingly looking to swap off the queens, but that doesn't work because the queen comes to g4 with check. After queen h6, it's checkmate. So that doesn't work. So our position is thus, and the mistake was played, which was queen to g7. Just looked at it, and the better move would have been knight to f6, but instead queen to g7 was played. And I want you to spend a couple of seconds now and see if you can see the mate. It's actually a mate in 3 moves. If you haven't seen the mate, then pause the video and try and work it out. It's always better to work these problems out than just see them played out. But the correct move is bishop to e6. If we look at the dark squared bishop and the queen, really blocking off any chance of the black king coming over to the king side of the board. But if we play the bishop to e6, we're now drawing the black king out. He's forced into putting his king towards the centre in e6. And now we can see a lot of loose squares around the king. And after queen to e8, we can really choose many pieces to kind of block here. For example, the knight. But then we still get mate with d5. In fact, any piece at all leads to the same mate. So hopefully you saw that, and we'll be back with another chess podcast very soon. With